I've spent the last few years testing a number of methods to learn French from scratch, and I'm often asked what my thoughts are on Duolingo. I can see why Duolingo is a popular platform, but in my opinion, it's not because it's necessarily effective at teaching you a language. I feel like Duolingo's popularity seems to stem from addicting gamification and a chaotic marketing strategy, and the simple fact that it's a free app, or they have free versions. And I also find it especially interesting that Duolingo has succeeded in creating a sense of community amongst its users, but not necessarily in a way that enriches the language learning experience or improves the skills of the community members. But instead, what I've witnessed is that Duolingo users seem to bond or commiserate over their shared experience of not learning anything from the platform. And for these exact reasons, I don't use Duolingo. And instead, I've experimented with a handful of other methods, and the one that I believe is a superior alternative is a Lingoda Sprint. From my experience, I've found that there are some elements of Lingoda Sprint that I find comparable to some of Duolingo's most positive qualities, but which are much more effective. So, what exactly is a Lingoda Sprint? Lingoda is an online language learning platform that hosts live small group classes for French, Spanish, English, German, and Italian. Lingoda offers challenges for new users called a sprint or super sprint, which rewards students with cash or platform credit if they follow the challenge rules and attend a certain number of classes in a 60-day period. I successfully completed a Lingoda Sprint and definitely recommend the experience. And in this video, I'll share all the reasons why I think it's a great alternative to Duolingo. The first reason is that there's motivation through gamification. There's no question that Duolingo is popular because it's addicting. They've mastered elements of gamification that keep users motivated to continue using the platform. Duolingo is essentially a vocabulary game that rewards users with status or notoriety within their app. However, simply playing the game isn't enough to make you a proficient speaker in a new language. The comparison I like to make is explained well in one of my favorite books, which is Atomic Habits by James Clear. To paraphrase, he writes that real change comes from action and not from movement. And movement may feel productive, but it doesn't actually produce results. So when applying this theory to language learning platforms, I would say that using the Duolingo app is movement that feels like productivity, but it doesn't really give you the opportunity to put your skills into action. By contrast, participating in a Lingoda Sprint allows you to learn through their informative lessons while also giving you plenty of opportunities to apply your skills and put them into action as you interact with your instructor and with other students. So next, the second reason is the science behind the streak. Maintaining a streak isn't just an effective tool that platforms use to retain their users. The instant gratification and validation over long periods of time also has an enormous benefit for the user. In order to create a habit, an individual must repeat an action enough times for it to become second nature. Every time you use a platform and you're rewarded for repeating an action, whether it's completing your lesson or attending a class, you're one repetition closer to developing that habit. And the more you continue to develop that habit, over time you subconsciously train yourself to make that action part of your identity. If you can maintain a streak for learning a language, over time you'll train yourself to believe that you are a speaker of that language, and it will become part of your identity. And if speaking a language is part of your identity, you will be much more likely to continue progressing in that language. And again, these are all concepts that are explained in more detail in Atomic Habits. But Duolingo and Lingoda Sprint both integrate an element of maintaining a streak in each of their platforms, but there's a key difference between the two. While maintaining a streak during a Lingoda Sprint will help you make real progress in learning a language and strengthen your identity as a speaker of that language, maintaining a Duolingo streak is really only solidifying your identity as someone who likes playing a vocabulary game on their phone. The third reason that makes a Lingoda Sprint better than Duolingo is that the reward is actually valuable. Of course, making real progress while learning a language is in itself a reward for completing Lingoda Sprint or Super Sprint, but the greatest motivator is the promise of 50% of your money back in the form of cash or 100% of your money back in the form of credits. So for anyone looking for clever ways to save money while also learning language effectively, completing a Lingoda Sprint is one of the most creative ways to do exactly that. And on top of that, you can also use my discount code, which is automatically applied when you click the link in the description below. And that way you can save even more. So while Lingoda is a greater investment of time and money when compared to Duolingo, I think that all the rewards you receive from completing a Lingoda challenge are far more valuable than what you could ever hope to expect from Duolingo, which is nothing. So another reason why I like to recommend Lingoda as a better alternative to Duolingo is that Lingoda teaches you more than just vocabulary. Lingoda's lesson plans are dynamic and well-structured, and they encourage creative thinking and collaboration with others. The fact that there's a real teacher guiding you and your classmates through the lesson is a great benefit because you can ask questions and receive clarification. On the other hand, if you were self-teaching through Duolingo, you would have to seek out additional resources if you needed a grammatical rule explained to you, or you would simply move on without understanding the reasoning. Duolingo's lessons are limited, whereas Lingoda's lessons are robust and offer you plenty of opportunities to learn even more from your teacher and your classmates. I noticed as I was going through my lessons during the Lingoda Sprint, I was often benefiting from an aspect that was unique to their format. I would learn something in one class, remember it, and then apply my newfound knowledge in another class while interacting with other students, which would help solidify it to my memory. And the dynamic nature of observing, understanding, applying, and interacting over multiple sessions is particularly effective for my learning style, and it may be beneficial for you too. And this leads me into reason number 5, which is that you get to interact with real people on Lingoda. I've posted a whole other video about why I prefer to learn language with real people as opposed to AI chatbots. I'll link it here in this video and below in the description. But to summarize, one of the greatest benefits from learning from real interaction is that it's better for your comprehension and memory and your interpersonal skills. I personally found Lingoda's platform to be great because they have dozens and dozens of teachers, so you have more opportunities to learn from individuals with different accents, different backgrounds, and different personalities, which makes the whole experience more enriching. By learning in situations where you have to communicate and collaborate with real people, you gain valuable experience that will better prepare you for future interactions in the real world. Another reason why Lingoda is great is because you can create your own class schedule. People seem to love Duolingo for its convenience and flexibility, but those aspects are also central to Lingoda's platform and structure. There are some strict rules to follow in order to qualify for a Lingoda challenge, but the fact that you can join an online class from home or from anywhere in the world is quite convenient. To complete a Lingoda Super Sprint, the timing is pretty straightforward with one class a day for 60 days, but the rules for the regular sprint are a little more complicated. For example, you can only take 15 classes in each month, and you can only take up to 5 classes within a single week. Students can join any class that's already on the schedule, or they can request their preferred subject and preferred time at least 7 days in advance, in which case a professor will be assigned. And it's important to note that Lingoda's cancellation policy is quite strict. Sprint students are not able to cancel a class within 7 days of it starting, otherwise they will be disqualified from receiving the reward. So the stakes are high, but the reward is worth it. And the element of accountability is a key component of the sprint itself. I found the regular sprint to be manageable, and I still definitely recommend the experience. And the last advantage that Lingoda has over Duolingo is that Lingoda can provide legitimate certification of your level or proficiency. In the language learning community, and perhaps even more broadly, Lingoda has a reputation of being a legitimate and respected platform. And if you needed to prove your level for a job or an application or a resume or a portfolio, it's much more professional to include Lingoda's language certification rather than awkwardly stating that you once had a Duolingo streak of however many days. So, if you want to be taken seriously, and if you complete at least 90% of classes in any level on Lingoda, you can easily go into your account dashboard and generate a certificate that attests to your proficiency in that language. So, whenever someone comes to me and says they aren't making any progress with Duolingo, everything I've gone over in this video is why I suggest Lingoda as an alternative. Lingoda is convenient and accessible and effective, and it certainly has made me a better French speaker. If you're looking for an alternative to Duolingo and wondering if a Lingoda Sprint is a good option for you, or if you have any questions about my experience, then definitely let me know in the comments below. I have posted other videos about learning French and about language in general, but my channel is really about learning new things as an adult and discovering new passions and new hobbies, and about knowing that it's never too late to get started. So, if that sounds like you, then don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time.